Hi, quick disclaimer before you watch this video. I am not a posek, I am not a Torah authority, and in no way, shape, or form should this video inform you of your Jewish practices at home. This is just for entertainment purposes, and I strongly recommend that you speak to your local Orthodox rabbi about this and any other halachic issue that you may have. Thanks for watching. I was recently asked by one of my YouTube subscribers to make a video about the Kosher Switch. And the reason why this is such a big question is because all Orthodox Jews, probably the biggest mitzvah is to be Shomer Shabbos.
Saturday, Donnie, is Shabbos, the Jewish day of rest.
Which, according to Minash Kaladi, is a new techno-halachic advancement that allows Orthodox Jews to use electricity on Shabbos. But before we even discuss what the Kosher Switch is and why, according to its creator, it's allowed to be used on Shabbos, let's discuss why do Jews abstain from using electricity on Shabbos to begin with. Well, the entire reason why Orthodox Jews do what they do on Shabbos is to show to the world that they believe that God created the world in 6 days and then rested on the seventh. God ceased his acts of creation. And so we cease the 39 categories of actions that were used to create various parts of the Mishkan, or the tabernacle. Tabernacle, it just rolls off the tongue. Tabernacle. And one of those prohibited acts were kindling fire. And in today's modern day and age, using electricity is looked at as kindling a fire. So how exactly does the Kosher Switch allow Jews to use electricity on Shabbos? Now this is where things get really complicated. Really complicated. Really complicated. Because it involves Gemaras, and it involves Rishonim and Achronim and a lot of different rabbis with a lot of different opinions. And now it's time for a YouTube explanation of a really complicated Torah topic. But the bottom line YouTube explanation is, it's called a grumma. A grumma is an indirect causation of an action, which means I can't go on Shabbos and actually flick on and on a light, but technically speaking, if I set into a series of events that were really out of my control and subject to a certain degree of uncertainty, then I guess that what I did would be permitted, and if the subsequent electricity was controlled, then it's kind of like a loophole and I'm really not going to get into any trouble. And that essentially is what the Kosher Switch is. Let's look at how the inventor of the Kosher Switch explains it, shall we?
The Kosher Switch is easy to use. We'll start in normal mode, with the Kosher Switch on-off button in its off or down position. The Kosher Switch button isn't attached to anything electrical. Its sole purpose is to block or unblock an internally emitted light pulse. The pulse is currently blocked. When the Kosher Switch button is in the on position, the pulse is unblocked and the switch turns the room light on. Before Shabbat, simply slide the mode selection switch to Sabbath mode. Now the patented Kosher Switch technology comes to life. The green status light provides absolute assurance that there are no active internal light pulses. In reality, we're only moving an isolated piece of plastic. Just wait for the green and flick the Kosher Switch. When the red status light is about to change back to green, a single internal light pulse may be emitted, subject to a random degree of uncertainty. In this cycle, the pulse failed to emit altogether. Even when a pulse is successfully emitted, the ability for the pulse to be received is also subject to a random degree of uncertainty. Finally, the pulse is successfully received, and the Kosher Switch turns on the room light. The Kosher Switch is therefore permitted for consumer use, since all we've done is move a single, isolated piece of plastic.
Shomer Shabbos!
And that brings us to the criticism of the Kosher Switch. People are saying that the rabbis presented in the endorsement video were misrepresented. For example, Rabbi Yeshua Neuwirth came out to say that the Kosher Switch should only be used by very sick people or for great needs of security. And Rabbi Auerbaum, although he says that technically you're not violating the laws of Shabbos by using the Kosher Switch, you are violating the spirit of Shabbos, which is just as bad.
But we have to go according to the great rabbis of our generation, and they have not accepted this switch to be used, and so therefore we're not advised to use it.
My biggest takeaway from the Kosher Switch is that everyone needs to have a local Orthodox rabbi with whom they can discuss their halachic confusions and questions. Like it says in Pirkei Avos, "Oseh lecha rav," make for yourself a rav, make for yourself a teacher, a person that is well-versed in halacha, well-versed in Torah, so that you can call him up and say, hey, listen, is this for me? Should I use it? So I'm not going to say if the Kosher Switch is permissible, because it's a really complicated topic, and you really should go to your local Orthodox rabbi and ask his or her opinion. You saw what I did there? I threw in the her there just to get you people to write comments down below. And let me know, what do you think about the Kosher Switch? Are you buying the Kosher Switch? What did your rabbi say? And I will see you next time, Be'ezras Hashem.
Shomer Shabbos!